Hello, my lovely people. It has been a while since I have posted, but I am back, and today's video is kind of giving a little bit of an update, but also some things that I have inquired and just really have dived deep into. And I wanted my channel to really be something of more of like a catch-all of my evolution instead of kind of like streamlining it to one specific thing, because at the end of the day, I'm a human being, I'm not a robot, and I'm forever evolving. And today's video is kind of just saying, really where I'm at, how I've gotten here, and how I'm moving forward from it. So recently I have enrolled myself back into school because I am pursuing my doctorate in visual arts as well as law. And that has been something that has been on my mind for a while, and I just always said, when I'm ready. But the truth is, you're never really ready. And so I've dived deep into it. Now, for the record, an unpopular opinion that I have, college is really for when you are emotionally mature. And the first time around, I was not ready for college. And now going back, I'm more focused. I'm able to understand the concepts more. I'm able to actually make sure that I'm doing the work adequately. And actually, it's a little bit more fun because I've had life's experiences. And so now I can actually take those concepts and really correlate them to my everyday life as a wife, as a mother, as a business owner. And I can be able to really allow myself to flourish in the college setting now, as well as get good grades. So that has been very much an eye-opener for me. I have always been an advocate for, doing your own thing. You don't need college, very entrepreneurial journey, which as I still am an entrepreneur, I'm starting to have a different shift as far as when it comes to the workforce, when it comes to college. It's really good to, I feel like, go and get a higher education, just because even if you are an entrepreneur and say you make tons of money, you're still paying someone else who actually has the knowledge to be able to fulfill whatever it is and run your business. And so something that I really took away when I did open up my business, I was like, okay, I want to make sure that I'm understanding everything to my fullest capacity, because at the end of the day, yes, I could pay someone, but I'm also still having that liability of if they're going to do a good enough job, an adequate enough job, and at the end of the day, I'm trusting someone with, something that I've built through my blood, sweat, and tears. And that was really something that I wanted to just have a better understanding for myself of how all the moving parts worked. Something that has been a different approach that I've taken is, you can really learn from everyone and anyone. And going back into a college setting, just because I'm a little bit older, I'm a little bit wiser, I can still learn from the youth. And it's a beautiful sight to see. And it brings me out of my everyday norm of my adulting mind of, the bills that I have to get paid, the things that have to be done, my constant, never ending to-do list. It brings me into a place of awareness and really working with that time management as well. Like I said, utilizing the information that I'm learning now in order to apply it to my everyday life. And one thing that really helped me propel myself into school was the fact that I had taken on a financial literacy journey for myself. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't privy to financial literacy through my home setting, and I was forced to learn it when I went out on my own and, just really started living life from working, going from job to job, and understanding how to manage money on my own. I'm not going to say I didn't learn anything from home, because I did. My family, my father in particular, was very entrepreneurial, but also never really enforced the importance of higher education, which in a way, I'm very appreciative because it allowed me to see the world from a different lens and a different perspective early on. But also, it's a little bit of a hindrance because there are some things that I wasn't privy to becoming an adult and having to learn the hard way. It just takes a lot more time and effort. And I'm not saying that there is one solution that fits everything or that you should be, having microwave success. But what I deem successful is being able to have time freedom. And had I learned my time freedom early on without chasing a dollar, then I think it would have just been a different outlook. And so now that I am aware of my time freedom and I do create my own time through having my own business and being entrepreneurial, I'm very appreciative for it. But also, what am I going to teach my children? And I think I'm at the space where, ultimately whatever they want to do, I'm going to fully support it as their mother. But I would love for them to seek higher education just so that way they do have the knowledge and the whereabouts of how things actually run in society. Because even though I am not the norm or I am not the necessarily like quote unquote textbook, I didn't do it step for step. I believe that it's very important to at least have the knowledge of it because, money comes and goes, but knowledge stays forever. What you know is what you know. And that brings me to something that I have dived deep into, which again was my financial literacy journey. And since diving into it from the top of this year, I have upped my credit score. I went from a 424. I am now sitting at a 723. And it's continuing to rise. And now, so that's over 300 points within the last 3 months. And so that's something that not only I was very proud of myself for, but also just understanding and being able to understand how money works and how credit works. And I really thought that I was very much so behind that this was something that I should already know, that everybody knew something other than me. And I want to go ahead and shout out to Tori Dunlap in her book, The Financial Feminist. This has been something that I really have been taking heed to. And I had learned a few of these concepts prior to grabbing the book, but I just wanted to grab more resources as far as what I could utilize in my day-to-day. And I think for me, it's very important to understand and learn financial literacy through a woman's perspective because it is a very male-dominated field, and I feel like the vernacular that is used just makes everything so complicated and doesn't really make it something that's tactical in order for you to apply to your everyday life. And I want to go ahead and read a few different quotes out of the book, but I love how she touches on really the emotion behind money and the mindset behind money prior to getting it. And this is something that I experienced time and time again. My problem with money was never necessarily getting it. It was how to maintain it, sustain it, and make it grow. And this, for me, boiled down to my self-worth and my feeling of acceptance. I have been a reformed people pleaser and perfectionist. And so diving deep into my financial literacy journey, I did not recognize that the two were one and the same. And my conceptualization of it now is God and money are simultaneous. My spiritual journey and my financial journey are truly simultaneous things. Money is not something to go and get. It's something that you attract. It's something that you're magnetized to. And it's really deriving off of the fact of how valuable can you be? How impactful can you be? And money is simply just a tool, in order for you to utilize to be able to, grow, build, and sustain everything around you. And so that's something that once I changed that perspective, it really helped skyrocket a lot of my decisions when it came to my finances. And paying off debt was way quicker. It was actually fun. It became a game. Understanding finances became way better than going through a glossary and learning all the terms, which I still did that as well, but it was easier to correlate them. And that's where I bring in the school setting versus, being in a real life experiences, because now I'm able to correlate the two to where I'm not just taking in information and not knowing how to apply it. So let's go over one of the things. Okay, so she talks about her mission, which I do want to shout out again to Tori Dunlap. I think what she is doing is great, and I think she is a very driving force within this field, and something that I would love to help along this mission. So Tori, call me. Okay, but she says, the mission of financial feminism is to do everything in your power to create a sturdy, beautiful table for yourself and then invite others to it, rather than gatekeeping that abundance. And she is here to give you the tools to help you navigate your financial life so that when you are financially stable and financially well, you have options. One of the things that I really took was how she views money as psychological, which, if you're unfamiliar, there is a book called The Psychology of Money. I think it is a great read. 10 out of 10 I would definitely recommend as well, and I'll link that below in the description. So money is psychological. Our financial decisions are directly impacted by our mindsets and how we're feeling in a certain moment, and in turn these financial decisions directly impact our long-term outcomes. We feel positive and negative emotions about every single aspect of money, whether it's debt, investing, or our income. So think back to last month and the kinds of money decisions that you made, both the ones that you're proud of and the ones that you're not. How many were influenced, even subtly, by your mental state or your emotional state? And 9 times out of 10, it was all of them, because again, we make financial decisions based off of our emotional state. Your feelings and your thoughts and mindset dictate your daily relationship with money, and it goes beyond spending. From day-to-day finances to our emotions are in play for even larger financial decisions as well, even in a way that we view money or people with it. And so something that was really staying out to me is, once I read that, I was like, okay, so let me just kind of backtrack here and let me see where really is my mindset with these financial decisions. And it turns out that 100% of them are emotionally driven. Even the fact of me wanting more money or wanting financial stability or wanting financial freedom, it comes from an emotional space of, I didn't have that when I was younger, and that's something that I want to give my kids. So that feeling of not having or not wanting is simultaneously correlated with the ambition and the drive and the motivation that I have to go and make sure that I do secure these things. And so I wouldn't say necessarily that it is worthless or pointless to do that, but once you have that foundation and that understanding of where are your financial desires stemming from, or lack thereof stemming from, then you're able to kind of navigate your journey more effectively. And that goes down to your daily spending, your habits, your money management, your time management. It really correlates to almost everything, but it allows you to see where you can actually pivot, restructure, and allow that to be a point of reference for you to be able to tackle on your financial journey. And that was something that I had to understand. So one of my emotional mishaps that I had was the fact that I grew up with money being scarce, or always told that money doesn't grow on trees, the amount of bills, or not the amount of bills, but the lack thereof, or things that always had to be paid for. We don't have enough for this or anything like that. So really surrounding myself around the lack or scarcity of money. So whenever I did receive money, I wanted to hold on to it, which that emotion of holding on to it creates resistance and doesn't allow for more flow to come through. And so psychologically, I was capping myself at a certain limit, because it was like I could get to that certain limit, but I could never reach over. And that was something that was just such an aha moment for me. So once I dived deep into that, and ways that I did that was I journaled, definitely did yoga, and I definitely just kind of really took my finances head on. Now something that I implement is a Financial Friday, which that's when these videos will come out. But Financial Friday basically is me romanticizing my finances and really diving deep, not having any emotional attachment to the fact of where my financial state is in that moment. Like just saying, hey, these are the bills, these are the due dates, this is what we have, this is what we're working towards, and really just gaining clarity on everything that is coming up, has been, and what we're working towards. Because once you gain clarity and once you actually look at it and you get rid of that daunting feeling of, oh, I know this bill is coming up, or oh, I know that this is coming up, or this is due, or I'm behind on this. Once you get past that emotional stance, you're able to open up and see, okay, these are just numbers, and how can I manipulate these numbers? That's all it is. And it turns into a game, because then you realize, okay, what can I do that I can either be of an asset, be of a value, be of some type of impact in order to give and open myself to receive? Because when you give, that is when you're opening the door in order for more to come in. If you're just holding tight, holding, you're not allowing anything else to come through. You're not allowing anything to really materialize for you. And this may sound a little bit of woo-woo, but this is where I say God or your spiritual journey is directly correlated to your financial abundance, because it's really an ebb and flow of a give and take, of a give and receive, right? And so when you're able to give more and release without that emotional attachment of, oh my gosh, like this was gonna, be my month's rent or whatever. When you're able to do that, you're able to actually open the door for more to come in. That is way more than any type of monetary value. I remember my first real financial decision that I made. And I can look back on this time and say that was the best thing I ever did. I was stuck between the decision. I think I had just turned 24 or 25, and I was given a gift I was given a monetary gift, and using that I could either pay my rent or go out of town to Costa Rica. I chose to go out of town to Costa Rica. It was the best trip ever. I absolutely love it. I reference this trip almost daily, and I gained so much from that. On the back end, I was not financially prepared to leave. However, that was kind of like the biggest risk that I ever took, because it changed my mindset. That was the first moment that I had true freedom of thought, and I wasn't worried about anything that was necessarily happening. Now, when I did come back, I became a mother, I became a wife, I became an entrepreneur, and things just kind of skyrocketed from there. And I'm not going to say that, everything just immediately went sky high, but I accomplished a lot within a short period of time. And the last thing that I had to figure out and recognize was really the emotions that I had behind my financial state. And over those next few years after I came back, they were very hard and they were very trying, and the financial instability was definitely head on face first. And I experienced a lot of just trial and error, but going through that, now I'm very appreciative, and I can be able to say, that was a decision that was necessary in order for me to be in the spot here today to talk to you guys about, this isn't something that needs to be feared. It's not something that doesn't need to be talked about, and I feel like it should be talked about way more. We should be more transparent about finances, about financial literacy, about financial stability, and it should be something that is just like talking about the weather. And the stigma around finances is very a touchy-feely subject, especially when you come from a space of poverty, or you come from a space of the mindset of scarcity and lack. You know, when you think of people with money, you're taught that, you know, people with money are evil, which is quite the opposite. Everything is built upon perception, and I'm not here to change anybody's views, but for my own personal experience, money itself is not necessarily evil, and that's something that I had to get out of my own mindset. Money itself is not evil. It's in fact the tool in order to utilize and really create what you want. And so now I don't have that feeling or that sense of, oh, just because they have billions of dollars, like, you know, they're evil. Now I feel as though I'm not here to judge, I'm not here to count anyone else's pockets, but I feel as though, you know, when you do have a certain level of money, it's not your obligation to take care of those around you, but it just really speaks upon the type of character that you have and the type of spirit and essence that resides within you. And so that is something that I've learned to really account for. And, you know, I can't look at anyone else and judge anyone else until I look at myself. And that's something that I made sure that I was very, very much aware of. Especially going on this financial journey, like, how am I utilizing it? Now, my money is my money and I'm gonna have a good time, but, you know, am I in a position to help those around me and to be able to adequately be of impact and be of a resource as well? And that is kind of how I go through my driving force with, you know, helping those around me now. And so I say all that to say, I am opening the Wealth Aligned Woman, the 1% Woman movement, and it is a financial literacy space community for helping women not only educate but stabilize and become confident in your financial journey wherever you are. Like I said, I came from a 424 credit score and well into the 700s, and we're shooting for that 850, but really just understanding and educating myself on this financial track, understanding the terminology, and really understanding that it's not that difficult. It's just the fact that we're not taught, and we're not taught in layman's terms for a reason. But I am here to help other women be able to feel the same freedom that I do, because now not only do I have time freedom, I have finance freedom, I am debt free, and I'm able to be in a space that I feel like my nervous system is completely regulated, and I'm able to help adequately, you know. And I am very appreciative for everyone who has joined the group thus far. Back in October, I started this group, and it was something that I didn't know was going to blow up. But now we have a little bit more structure going into the new year, and we have more resources. And one of our resources is if you are needing help with repairing or your financial stance as far as your credit, or really understanding it, we have tools and resources that are available to help you with that. In the description, you can find one of our resources. It's 50% off for the month of April if you use my code, and you are more than welcome to ask any questions up until then. But every single Friday I will be doing a Finance Friday, so we'll be going over 30 days of financial literacy terms, how to use them, where they're used, just so that way we can become more educated on the overall realm of finance. As well as I will be doing a free giveaway at the end of April in order for my beautiful participants to be able to get on the right track. And I have tons of resources available for you guys, so you guys can sit and watch here, or you guys can subscribe to my Substack, where you'll have in-depth informations as well as available resources and guides to help you along the way. So I'm very appreciative for you all, anybody watching this video. If you guys have any questions, please make sure you leave them in the comments below so I can answer them in another video. And yeah, we're off to a great start. So I love you guys. See you later.